If Dad were here, he would be in every stream. He would walk in.
Oh, he
He would
absolutely.
not.
And
If
good
I
luck
put a
trying to tell him to get out of the
right,
stream or
I would shut the door. I could put a lock on it, hit
yeah.
unscrew it,
You
come
know,
in, and he'd be say, "Hey guys, what's up? I just saw a movie."
you're in the room that I one of the great dad stories I've told on the show before is I rolled over his bare feet with a computer chair, with a desk chair. With the casters right over his feet.
Were you
Barefoot.
sitting in it?
Oh yeah, of course I was sitting in it.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I was doing something on the computer. He was behind me, and I went to move the chair, and I went right. And he, he was like, "Motherfucker, goddamn!" Like all kinds of expletives coming
I'm
out.
surprised the windows didn't smash.
But then 2 minutes later, he was good. Like I don't know. He had some weird pain tolerance that I
hey,
understand.
I know all about that with my neuropathy that nobody can fix.
Yeah, but you never walked in from outside in his wood shack after he just cut his thumb off and was like, doot, like nothing happened. Do you remember that one?
I brought him up to the hospital.
What a circular saw.
I brought him up to the hospital with a cup of ice and his thumb in it.
Yeah, there's like a trail of blood. It looked like an episode of Last of Us, and he's just doot, like not, no big deal.
Yeah, I was like, I cut my thumb off. I think I'll go up to Leahy,
Yeah, up the clinic. A couple stitches, anyways, all right, listen.
I could tell you stories all day long about Dad that you don't know.
We should just do a whole Oh Dad episode.
Yeah. Oh Father.
When he walked through the screen door, that was classic. There's so many good ones.
And plus, I worked with him. And
yeah, you did.
When you work with your dad, he's not your dad. You don't call him Dad. You don't say, "Hey, Dad," because
boss.
you look like a schmuck if you do that. So
boss.
I used to,
hey, Mr. Smith, it's happening again.
No, I wasn't that bad, but I would say, "Yeah, you want to talk to the mechanic, blah, blah, blah."
Yeah.
But there's so many stories that are just unbelievable. I'll tell you one quick one.
Yeah.
Our dad was a gun nut, right? I hate guns.
I wouldn't go so far as to say he was a gun nut.
He was a gun nut.
He wasn't a gun nut.
He had a rack of rifles downstairs.
He didn't have a rifle in the back of the truck. Like
he had what you don't know.
He did have guns all over the place.
He had a safe at the station full of guns. And I got held up one night, okay?
Yeah.
At gunpoint, right? And the guy's telling me to open the safe. Now, I didn't know the combination. I truly didn't.
All right.
And I was totally
If you did, you might have been able to get one of those guns and then disarm the robber.
Exactly. I would have reached in and, got myself shot in the head. But, so this is the funny thing. The guy's like, give me the money. Give me this. Give me that. I'm like, I don't know the combination. It's just an old safe that was here when we got here.
Yeah.
And the guy was like nervous and he ran off finally. Meanwhile, I leaned down. Leaned down and tipped the thing was open the whole time. All I had to do was.
He never shut it.
No, he didn't shut. He forgot once in a while.
Yeah.
And I would usually check it to make sure it was locked.
Yeah.
But I hadn't checked it, and I assumed it was locked. But the story goes, Dad buys this gun. Like a 357, something pretty strong, right?
A Saturday night special.
Saturday night special. And it's probably, filed the whole thing.
1979, yeah.
So he gets Cy, which is used to be our next door neighbor.
Right.
And he worked for Dad as a mechanic.
Yeah, that's his name, folks, on his birth certificate.
Yeah, his name's Brian, but nobody called.
But
in fact,
makes sense.
Nobody knew his name was Brian. Nobody.
Right.
When I would say his name, people would go, "His name's Brian?"
Yeah.
I didn't know that. But anyways, Cy sets up a barrel, and they fill it with blankets. And Dad wanted to fire the gun.
Into it. Yeah.
He wanted to fire that thing so bad. And the thing went through the barrel, through the wall, out the back of the station. It was unbelievable.
That was him.
He almost shot you.
I almost shot him.
Oh, I thought it was him shooting you.
No. This was the one and only time that he and I, played around with any weapons. You came to the house. I don't care how many times my friends have been in the house. It was to say, "Hey, come on, come see my gun collection," or "Come down in the basement and look at this collection or that collection." It
Right.
just, I'm like, "Dad, they just had the tour last week." "Yeah, come on, I added a few things, whatever it was. I got a bunch of keychains now. Come and look at those."
My favorite.
So, but wait, he goes upstairs in the attic, and he comes down with just a box of loose weapons.
Yeah.
It
We
no
took those
safe. There's no safe, no padlock. It was just weapons.
when he died, we brought all that stuff to the police
Well,
department.
and this was probably in there. So he had this little 22 pistol.
Yeah,
that
I
was in
remember
there.
it.
And me and my friend John was over the house. So Dad's going through the spiel of, my guns and this and that, trying to impress or whatever. And so John and I, we got the guns, and so he's got this 122, and we're kind of looking at holding it, whatever. Dad does the safety check and all that, and he was a very safe individual, of course. But
Wasn't a lock on it.
yeah, he was a loving man. He was very tender, and he never caused any mayhem. But so I have the pistol in my hand, and I don't know what I'm doing. I start like just waving it around the living room. We're in the living room of the house. And I'm waving it around. I pointed at John, and then I turned back and I pointed at Dad. And then I turn away like 6 inches, and then I pull the trigger and it goes off. The thing goes off. So I'm like,
What
where's
did
the
you think it was?
armorer? Where's the Smith armorer?
Did you think it was unloaded?
I thought it was unloaded.
Oh man.
So did he. Immediately, Jesus Christ, God damn, grabs it, and he starts like doing.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out there was a slug that was jammed in there that he didn't get the first time that he racked it.
So there was no.
So he's like, that's the last time, and the thing went bing, bing, bing all over the living room, and there was a hole in the floor.
Ricochet rabbit.
Thank God Mom was not home.
Oh my God.
I don't think she knows this story.
No,
to
if
this
Mom
day.
was home, she would
In
have got
fact,
hit.
folks, let's get her in here.
Yeah,
Mary,
let's take a bullet, Mary.
come on down. Yeah.
One final. Maybe he can cut this into an "Oh Father" episode, but
Wow.
we came from very, very modest means, lower middle class, out in the suburbs, but Dad managed to buy things once in a while. And one of the things he bought was a boat, and he actually bought two of them.
boats.
And he had one in the yard and one parked on the patio.
I know this story.
Do you know the story? Sag.
Does this involve a big drum, like one of those like
Yes.
30-gallon drums?
Yes. So it's 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
And on Friday nights, Dad used to go around the corner to this place called the Royal Hawaiian that's no longer
I
there.
miss it. Skull and Bones. The Skull
Yeah.
and Bones.
And he would come home tipsy. I don't know how, he knew all the cops.
Yeah.
On Friday nights was cop night at the station. All the cops came,
Yeah.
drinking beer on duty. But this
Well, don't make
Friday
that
night,
claim. Often.
well,
Often.
I wouldn't. Yeah. Well, they're
Yeah,
no longer on the
often.
force, so don't worry about it. They're all 6 feet under.
They all got discharged.
So, Dad comes home. Me and Sag are sitting on boat number 1 out in the yard, smoking a joint. Okay.
Oh.
I hardly ever. It's probably the first time I ever smoked a joint.
This is pre-Snoop Dogg, too.
And so we're smoking this joint, and all of a sudden, Dad pulls up, and the lights go on us. And Sag just throws the cigarette, throws the marijuana cigarette. And then Dad sees us. He used to always bring a bag of food home for us.
From the Royal Hawaiian, yeah.
So I'm like, Sag, well, we'll eat. And, we had like the
Chinese
munchies.
food, yeah.
So anyways, Dad saw us sitting up in the boat.
Mhm.
And Dad looking, oh, hey, Sag, his name is Paul. But
What is
Dad,
this size Sag?
Yeah,
I mean,
Dad's calling him Sag like he's
Yeah.
hip. Dad says, hey, Sag, come here. You want to see something? It's 2 a.m, Dan, 2 a.m.
yeah.
He drops the motor off the second boat into a bucket of water. And he starts it up. And he's like humming that thing. Like
Right. Well, who was going to say anything?
the whole neighborhood
Yeah,
knew.
the Thompsons?
And me and Sag are looking at each other, and tears are coming down our eyes. We are laughing so
It's
hard.
classic.
Meanwhile, Dad's like totally oblivious to us laughing.
Well, he's 3 sheets to the wind, too.
Yeah, and all he is see now. If I hit this, it goes into third. If I
Of
hit
course, he
this-
took an Uber home from the Royal
Yeah,
Hawaiian.
no,
as
there
he
was times. There was times he parked like crooked on the yard.
Yeah. Or perhaps inside a telephone pole a few times.
Or very close to the telephone pole.
Close to the telephone pole.
Because
Oh,
one time
boy.
we had like 6 cars.
Yeah.
Everyone had to have their own car.
I just was talking about the motorcycle accident story. That'll be for
Oh
another
my
day.
God, that's another
He
one.
and I out on a motorcycle that wasn't his, and Mom didn't know we were on. So that we'll tell that at some
And
other
Mom,
time.
oh mother, hates
Hates
both of the 2 things she hates most in life:
guns and motorcycles.
Dad,
Here comes Dad home from work with a gun and a motorcycle. Honey, I'm home.
oh, that was so
Holy
funny.
shit!
So
Still had
funny.
the beef chow yoke ready for him when he got home. Holy God! All right, we got to get out of here. And speaking of that, I got to eat now. I'm hungry, so I got to
Yeah.
get some. I just ordered while we were live streaming. I ordered my dinner. Multitasking of the Oh Brother podcast.
All right, nice job.
All right, well, appreciate everybody that's been listening or watching. All right, that's going to do it for another episode of the Oh Brother podcast. Been your host, Dan Smith. Alongside me, as always, my brother from the same mother, Mike Smith. We will see you next time.
And for God's sake, subscribe, please.
Yeah.
I'm begging you. I'm begging.
And lock your guns away, will you?
Bye, everyone.